Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I just want to give you a review about the Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, and I'm going to also talk about the real events of Arne Johnson. That's who this whole thing is based on, except for the first part. Now, the first part I don't really consider this video a spoiler, because if you know the story about Arne Johnson, then you want to get into it's basically the same thing with this movie. Now, the first part of the movie, it gave an ode to the exorcist. All right, it was a whole exorcist feel when the father got out the cab. He walks to the house, under the light shines, and he sees the house. It's just a different house, but it's the house, and he goes in the same way as that eerie feeling of the exorcist from years ago, how the priest, the father, was standing in front of the house when the light was shining down on him. Now, to me, I'm going to say the original Exorcist, that whole picture is very eerie to this day, and it still gives me an eerie feeling. As for this one, does it, but it did give an ode to the Exorcist, and Lorraine and Ed are trying to get this demon out of this 8-year-old boy named David. But Arne invites the demon out of the boy into him. And then that's when all the stuff started happening with Arne. So they lived in this place where this guy named Bruno was living. He lives there with these dogs and a cattle and everything. And Arne was feeling sick. He was feeling sick after all this happened. Months later, he was feeling sick and everything. And when he was in the tree, he had dropped his chainsaw, and the guys at work was like, "What's wrong with you? Are you crazy?" Because he could have hurt someone. So they sent him home, and that's when everything was going nuts. Bruno, he was drinking and was like, "Come drink with me," and gave him something to drink, and he played this loud music because Arne fixed his stereo. And it was just, the demon took hold, and he ended up killing Bruno, right? So Arne is walking down the street. The cop sees him, asks him, "Is he okay?" And Arne turns around and say, "Hey, I think I killed someone." So he doesn't remember doing it, but he has blood all over him, but he knows he hurt someone. But in that time, in that mindset, the demon was taking hold. So they had to go back to figure out what's the connection with Arne and this demon. And they found out a whole bunch of other things in between. So I'm not going to get into that because I don't want to give you too much, because if you did not see it, I want you to see it. I just want to give a little review of the movie itself, not the whole spoiler, But it gets deeper. Ed and Lorraine, they have to find out what the connection is and all this kind of stuff. It was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I did enjoy it. Now, let's talk about Arne Johnson, Now, so Arne Johnson was 19 at the time, was charged with murdering his landlord. His landlord's name was Alan Bono, in cold blood in 1981, while the pair fought over his girlfriend, Debbie Glatzel. She was 26. But it wasn't Johnson who killed his 40-year-old friend. His lawyer unprecedentedly said a demon manipulated Johnson into stabbing Bono to death with a 5-inch pocket knife. And that's where that's where the Conjuring tells the story. It took from this and it told the story of Arne Johnson. It began in Brookville, Connecticut, when 12-year-old David Glatzel, Debbie's little brother, began experiencing frightening hallucinations. David regularly saw a man with big black eyes, a thin face with animal features, and jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and hoofs, his mother said. Now, Judy told People magazine in the lead up to the trial, the creature, she added, told him to beware. As his condition worsened, the boy will growl, hiss, and probably for a 12-year-old quote passages from Paradise Lost. He often spoke of death and stabbings. Okay, so the Gazelles are frightened. They enlisted the help of the Warrens, popular TV ghost hunters, who brought along 3 priests for a series of exorcism, some of which the supportive boyfriend Johnson was present for. All right. Now, let's move forward. So it all starts with, like I said before, they trying to get this demon out of David, but Arne invites him in. And that's how he end up, killing his landlord and stuff like that. Now, to this day, Debbie and David's brother Carl maintains that the Warrens' claim was a hoax to make a quick buck, and that David suffered from mental illness as a child. He sued Lorraine Warren and author Gerald Brittle in 2007 when a reprinting of Brittle's book, The Devil in Connecticut, dreaded up the traumatizing experiencing. The case was dismissed. That's why I moved out of Connecticut. Carl, who is now 55, recently told The Current, "I never did believe in this BS." So basically, people were trying to say that Ed and Lorraine Warren were fakes and stuff like that. They were just trying to make a quick buck. I don't know, but the real Arne Johnson still had to do some time in prison. Okay, because who's going to believe that they have a demon inside them and a demon made them kill someone? Some people don't believe in hardly anything. So you trying to ask the judge and the courts to believe that he was possessed by a demon, by the devil, and the devil made him kill his landlord? How would that sound to you? If somebody told you that happened, would you believe them? To me, anything is possible. I put nothing past anything. Anything is possible. That's just how I see it. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to stop here because I don't want to give too much, but I just want to give you a similarity of Arne Johnson that happened in real life and this Arne Johnson that happened in the movie. This is where the story came from. It came from the real story, and that's where how this movie is presented. Now, one of my favorite Conjuring movies from the Conjuring universe, I'm going to say hands down, the first one is my ultimate favorite. I can watch the first one over and over and over as many times. I love the first one, okay? Now, let's see. The second one, I really didn't care too much about the second one. And that's the one where the girls were in England, right? Yeah, that's when the girls were in England and they were saying that she was making it up, but come to find out she wasn't. That one was okay. It wasn't my favorite. It was okay. The Nun was absolutely crap. I did not like The Nun. And I did not like The Crying Woman. I did not like that at all. So, yeah. But I do like this one. I do like The Conjuring 3. The Devil Made Me Do It. I like this one. And I like the first one. The second one is okay. If I had to do a binge watch of all of them and I had to pick, well, I would pick 1, 2, and 3. Anything in between that, I wasn't a fan of Annabelle. Just didn't do nothing for me. Let me just tell you something. Horror is not what it used to be years and years ago, back in the day. This is just, to me, thriller. You have your moments where things jump out of the dark and stuff like that, but it's nothing horror. It's nothing horror anymore. It's hard to make a good horror film. It's hard. It's hard to make a good horror film. Back in the day when they was doing horror, let me tell you something. As a kid, when I first started watching horror movies, my first horror movie was Friday the 13th, the first one. That's my first horror movie, and that was what kicked off me being a horror fanatic. Now, years, fast forward into some years, I'm a teenager, and I saw, what is it called? The Howling, the first one, when he was turning into the werewolf. And for the 80s, that was some excellent, 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 excellent transformation going on. I mean, he was actually, I mean, you saw him, his feet, everything, him rising up, the change, his face coming out. That to me was horror. Okay, that was scary for me. But nowadays, it's just not like that anymore. I don't get that same feeling when I did when I watched Friday the 13th back in the day when I was a kid, and Howling and other, excuse the noise in the background, and other stuff. I don't get the same feeling like I do now. So, but it's good. I do like The Conjuring. What's the other? It's not The Conjuring. It's but the old lady. Oh, what is that series? It's called Insidious. Now, I do like the Insidious series. I do like that. The Conjuring and Insidious, hands down, is cool. There was another movie I wanted to see and do a review on, but the reviews on that movie is really terrible, and it's called The Unholy. Have any of you guys seen The Unholy yet? If you have, please let me know in the comment section, and what do you think of The Unholy? But as of right now, I'm going to get up out of here, but I will say it is a good movie to watch. I watched it at home on HBO Max. Did not pay for no ticket to see it. I watched it in the comfort of my home, and it was pretty good. Now, would I have paid money to see this? For me watching it now? Well, if I didn't watch it, I probably would have paid money for it. Would I have regretted it? No. But it's a decent movie. It's a really decent movie. I think you should watch it. Give it a chance. If you watched this movie, let me know in the comment section if you watched it. And what are your thoughts about it? How did you like it? Did you pick up that they did an ode to the exorcist in there? Because they told the first part was basically the exorcist story. But my question is this: why is it every time a demon is into somebody, they twist their bodies up like a pretzel, and oh my God, it just looks painful. But anyway, that's all I have for right now. You guys take it easy, and I will talk to you later.